ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ALavandhAr has mercifully given this gIthArtha sangraham, which is a collection of 32 slokams which explain the purpose and the contents of Bhagavad Gita. In this 32 slokams, in this grantham, ALavandhAr first explains what is explained in Gita, what is the purpose of the arrival of this Gita Shastram, and then in the next 3 slokams he explains the essence or the summary of each of the hexades. That is, the Gita 18 chapters are divided into 3 hexades containing 6 chapters each, and ALavandhAr explains in each of those 6 chapters what is mainly explained. That is explained in 3 slokams, 1 slokam per hexade. And then from the 5th slokam to 22nd slokam, each chapter, each adhyaya's essence is explained by Yamunacharya. And then from 23rd slokam to 28th slokam, karma, jnana, bhakti yogams are explained. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, these are considered as the main means to attain Bhagavan. So these 3 yogams are explained in detail in the 23rd slokam, in the 6 slokams, starting with 23rd slokam up to 28th slokam. And in 3 slokams, ALavandhAr explains the greatness of Jnani, who is called as Paramaikanti, one who is totally dedicated to Bhagavan. That is explained in the 3 slokams, starting from 29 to 31. And then in the concluding slokam, the essence of Gita, the purpose of Gita is summarized. Puttur Krishnamacharya Swami has explained simple meanings for these 32 slokams in Tamil. That has been translated into English by Adiyan, and we have published all these 32 slokams along with their meanings in our website githa.koil.org. And with the help of this English translation, we are going to see all these 32 slokams in short. In the first slokam, it is explained that Sriman Narayana, Bhagavan, is known only through bhakti, which is acquired by detachment from other aspects, worldly aspects. Jnana yoga and karma yogam, which befits the individual's nature, and that is explained in this particular chapter. And finally, Bhagavan is the Supreme Brahman. Such Bhagavan is revealed in this Shastram called Bhagavad Gita. That is the whole essence of Gita. Gita reveals the nature of Sriman Narayana, who is Bhagavan, and how he is reached. That he is reached through Bhakti Yogam. This is explained in this Bhagavad Gita. In the second slokam, starting from the second slokam, 3 slokams explain the summary of each of the 6 chapters. So in the second shlokam, the first hexade ordains Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam, which are decorated with knowledge about one's own servitude and detachment towards worldly matters. And these Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam are there to attain self-realization and blissful experience of the self. This is explained in the first hexade. In the second hexade, Bhakti Yogam, which develops from Karma Yogam and which is supported with Jnana Yogam, that leads to true experience of the Supreme Entity, Bhagavan, is explained. That is, Bhakti Yogam is explained in this middle hexade, middle 6 chapters. This Bhakti Yogam leads to attainment of eternal experience with Bhagavan. The third hexade explains many aspects such as Mula Prakriti, which is primordial matter, which is subtle, Jivatma is subtle, and then Achetana, which is transformation of Mula Prakriti in a more gross form, and then Sarveshwara, who is the Supreme Entity, and the process through which Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, Bhakti Yogam are attained, etc., which are all not explained in previous chapters, are explained in this decade, in this hexade. So this hexade covers about Mula Prakriti, Atma, and then Sarveshwara, and also some of the aspects which are not explained in previous hexades. For example, later in the 17th chapter, the 3 types of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas are explained, and how each of our activities such as tapam, danam, which is charity, and then our food, our activities, they are all based on these 3 qualities. That is explained in the 17th chapter. These aspects are not explained previously, so whichever aspects left out in the previous chapters are explained in the final hexade. Starting from this 5th shlokam, each of the chapter is summarized and explained in very simple manner. We'll see the explanation for each of these shlokams. In the 5th shlokam, Gita Shastram was initiated towards Arjuna, who is surrendered to Krishna after being shaken up due to attachment with and compassion for naturally unfitting relatives, and having bewildered intelligence, considering one's own righteous war as being unrighteous. That is, Arjuna becomes confused because he shows attachment and mercy towards those who are not supposed to be shown such attachment and mercy, because the ones who are standing across him to fight him are not fighting for dharma, and Arjuna is in the side of dharma. So naturally he should have had the courage to fight them immediately, but he didn't have the courage. So he became bewildered, and then he considered what is dharma to be adharma. His fight should be considered as dharma, but he considered that to be adharma. So he became confused, and then he became shaken up, and then he surrenders to Krishna. That is what is explained in this first chapter. As a result, Krishna starts explaining him all the important principles, which is starting in the 2nd chapter, which will be seen in the next slokam. In the next slokam, topics such as Atma, which is eternal, the duties, righteous duties, which should be done with detachment, having the state of Stita Prajna, which means firm in judgment and wisdom as the goal, knowledge about self, and Karma Yogam, which are instructed to eradicate Arjuna's bewilderment, are in the second part of the second chapter. So these are the topics covered in the second chapter. In the 7th shlokam, third chapter is explained. Third chapter contains how one would perform their prescribed duties for the benefit of others who don't have such intelligence, for them to observe and follow the same, and how while performing those duties one would meditate upon one's doership, which is influenced by the three types of modes such as sattva, rajas, tamo, and surrendering such doership unto the Bhagavan. And all of this should be done for the goal of liberation, for the goal of moksha, and not for anything else, not for any material benefit. This is what is explained in the third chapter, which is explained in the 7th shlokam. In the 4th chapter, Karma Yogam along with Jnana Yogam, the nature and subdivisions of Karma Yogam, the greatness of true knowledge are all explained. As part of all of these, a question arises: who is Krishna to instruct all of this? How does he know the truth? For that, Bhagavan first explains that he spoke all of these to Vivaswan first, and then Vivaswan carried it forward to Manu, and then from Manu it came to Ikshvaku, and then the knowledge got transmitted through Parampara, but eventually that knowledge got lost. So Krishna is speaking the same knowledge again for the benefit of Arjuna and everyone else. And while explaining that, he also explains how he is still supreme even while incarnating, and the purpose of his incarnation. For example, to establish dharma, to annihilate the evil people, and to support the good people, to help the good people. All of these are explained as part of proving his authenticity, proving that he is the Supreme Lord who is giving all this knowledge. So that is all explained in the 4th chapter. In the 5th chapter, how Karma Yoga is practical, how it helps one attain the goal quickly, what are all its ancillary parts, and the state of viewing all Atma as pure are all explained in this 5th chapter. Now, one aspect we need to understand is, for example, Krishna says in this particular chapter about the glories of yoga and how it is very practical and how it is easy to, it helps easily attaining the goal and all that. All of this is explained by Bhagavan to encourage the practitioners of each of that particular yogam. When he talks about Karma Yoga, he talks big about it. He talks great about it. When he talks about Jnana Yoga, he talks glorifying in a manner which glorifies the Jnana Yoga. When he talks about Bhakti Yoga, he praises it greatly. These words will inspire those who are inclined towards such yogams to take up that practice sincerely and follow it fully. But reality is, as our acharyas explain, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all of these are contradictory, which Krishna himself rejects in the end, saying that you have to give up all the means and surrender unto me only. So, when a particular topic is spoken, he praises that particular subject and then he presents it nicely. So that's a principle which you need to understand. It's common for all of this. In the next shlokam, that is 10th shlokam, he explains the essence of 6th chapter, where the method to practice the yogam, which was explained previously, which leads to Atma Sakshatkaram, which is self-realization, the 4 types of yogis and detachment, all of these are explained. And in the end, in the last shlokam, Bhagavan explains that one who performs Bhakti Yoga, one who practices Bhakti Yoga towards himself, that is Krishna, in the Shlokam Yoginam Api Sarvesham, he explains the greatness of Bhakti Yoga, which is superior than Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, and how that yogi is the greatest of all yogi. Emberamannar Ramanujar explains in great detail about Bhagavan in the commentary for this Shlokam. Until now, Bhagavan only explained about Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, and only at this stage the importance of Bhakti Yoga is highlighted by Krishna. So, Emberamannar, being very happy about it, he writes a big lengthy commentary for this particular Shlokam. In the 11th Shlokam, 7th chapter's essence is highlighted. In the 7th chapter, the true nature of Paramapurusha, i.e. that he is the object of our bhakti, and the state of being concealed in this material realm, that is, we are in this body which covers the truth, which covers the knowledge of the Atma, that is explained, and how surrendering to Bhagavan will eliminate that concealment, will remove that curtain, that is explained in this 7th chapter. And also the 4 types of bhaktas or devotees, namely the ones who are in distress, the ones who are desiring for wealth, one who is inquisitive to know about the truth, and the one who is totally devoted to Bhagavan. The 4 types of devotees are explained in this chapter, and the importance or the greatness of the Jnani or the 4th type of devotee is also explained by Bhagavan in this chapter. In the 12th Shlokam, that is speaking about 8th chapter, the different types of principles which are to be understood and practiced by all the 3 types of devotees, namely Aishwaryarti. Here he is combining the one who is in distress and one who is seeking wealth as Aishwaryarti, and then Kaivalyarti, one who is interested to know the truth, and then one who is desiring to serve Bhagavan eternally. All these 3 types of devotees need to know certain principles which are to be understood and practiced, and that is explained in this particular chapter. In the 13th Shlokam, the essence of 9th chapter is explained. This covers Bhagavan's own greatness, he being supreme even in human form, that when he incarnates, even though he has a human form like us, it's still very spiritual, he is still supreme, and that should be celebrated, that is highlighted. And then the greatness of those jnanis who are Mahatmas, who are totally devoted to Bhagavan, and Bhakti Yogam. All of these are explained in the 9th chapter. In the 10th chapter, to nurture the sadhana bhakti, or to nurture the Bhakti Yogam in a person who is inclined towards that, Bhagavan manifests his opulence and his wealth and all his auspicious qualities, and seeing that, naturally one will develop devotion towards Bhagavan. And this is what is explained in the 10th chapter, which is explained in the 14th Shlokam. In the 15th Shlokam, the 11th chapter is summarized. Here it is said that Bhagavan manifests his universal form, Vishwarupam, to Arjuna to make Arjuna see his universal form. He also blesses Arjuna with divine eyes, which will facilitate Arjuna to see that divine form. Otherwise, one cannot behold that form. And also, bhakti as the only means for attaining Bhagavan is explained in this 11th chapter. In the 12th chapter, the greatness of Bhakti Yogam in comparison to Atma Upasanam, that is the process of Jnana Yogam, is compared with Bhakti Yogam, and Bhakti Yogam's supremacy is explained. And the explanation for the means which will facilitate one to develop such bhakti is also explained in this 12th chapter. And the types of qualities which are engaged in Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, all of that are also explained in this. And Bhagavan's great affection towards his devotees are also spoken in this 12th chapter. In the next slokam, 17th slokam, the summary of 13th chapter is explained. In this chapter, the nature of body, the means to attain the Jivatma, that is Atma Sakshatkaram, the cause for bondage of Atma being attached to bodily aspects, and the method to distinguish between Atma and Achit, matter, soul and body, are explained in this 13th chapter. In the 14th chapter, that is the 18th slokam explains the 14th chapter, the three types of qualities, Sattvam, Rajas, Tamas, which bind one into this samsaram, that is explained here, and how one should overcome all of these and eliminate such qualities are explained. And Bhagavan, being the one who bestows all the three types of results, such as worldly wealth, Aishwaryam, Kaivalyam, and then Kainkaryam to Bhagavan. All these three are given by Bhagavan only, is explained in this particular chapter. This is explained here because one may think that Bhakti Yogam or Karma Yogam or Jnanam Yogam can themselves can bestow the result. Actually, that is not correct, because the Yogam or any activity is done at a particular moment, and then that activity is completed, and then it doesn't exist anymore. For example, if we boil the milk, that activity is there. Once we boil the milk and somebody drinks the milk, that activity is gone. Nobody, and that boiling the milk, that activity itself cannot remember about itself. Bhagavan, being the all-knowing personality, he remembers all the actions, all the activities which are done, and then based on that, he bestows the particular result for the individual depending on their activity. So that is what is mainly explained here, emphasized here, saying that Bhagavan is the one who gives all types of results, whether it is worldly wealth or Kaivalyam or Kainkaryam, eternal Kainkaryam. In the next slokam, 19th slokam, the 15th chapter is explained. In the 15th chapter, Bhagavan's supremacy is emphasized. Purushottama Vidya is highlighted in this particular chapter. Sriman Narayana, Bhagavan, being different from Achit, matter, and then Baddha Jivas, those who are bound in this samsara, and then Muktas and Nityas, those who are in Paramapadam, the liberated ones, and the eternal associates. Everyone, every entity is different from Bhagavan. Bhagavan is unique in comparison to all of these. And that Bhagavan's greatness is highlighted in this 15th chapter. And also how he is superior, how he is great is also explained by saying that Bhagavan is the one who sustains, one who pervades, and one who is the master of everyone. It is because of all these three reasons he is the superior and supreme personality. That is what is explained in this 90th slokam, which talks about the 15th chapter. In the 20th slokam, 16th chapter is explained. First, in the 16th chapter, the difference between saintly people, good people, noble people, and cruel people, Deva and Asura, is explained. And then, to establish the knowledge about the truth, the practice of the process, how one should practice the yoga, and the truth of everyone being bound by Shastram is explained in this 16th chapter. 21st Shlokam talks about 17th chapter. In the 17th chapter, it is explained that any activity which is not ordained in the Shastram, if one performs, that makes him an asura. Only an asura or a demoniac person or evil-minded person will perform what is not allowed in Shastram. If maybe certain things are not explicitly said, maybe certain things are explicitly rejected. If one engages in such activities, then they are considered as asura. And then Shastram based qualities which are ordained in, and again there are also activities which are based on one's qualities, sattvam, rajas and tamas, and how these activities are explained in Shastram to be in the mode of sattvam, in the mode of rajas and in the mode of tamas is explained. And finally, how the phrase Om Tat Sat will be recited while engaging in yagyam or any tapas or dhanam which are ordained in Shastram. When such activities ordained in Shastram is performed, this Om Tat Sat is recited along, and that identifies such noble activities. All of these are explained in the 17th chapter. Finally, in the 18th chapter, all the activities are done by Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan is the real doer. Sattvagunam should be pursued, and liberation is the result of such noble activities. These are all explained in the 18th chapter, and also Bhakti and Prapatti, that is Bhakti Yogam and Sharanagati, are the essence of Gita Shastram. These are also explained in the 18th chapter. So this concludes the section of explaining the summary of each of the chapters. Now the next section from the 23rd Shlokam to 28th Shlokam talks about Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam and Bhakti Yogam. Karma Yoga, 23rd Shlokam explains, Karma Yoga is engaging continuously in tapasya, then tapasya means penance, then tirtha yatra, pilgrimage, dhanam, which means charity, then yagyam, sacrifices. These all constitute Karma Yogam. Jnana Yogam is practiced by one who has total control over his own mind and his senses, and one who is fully situated in Atma, and which is not related to the material body. Atma is separate from body, and one who is very clear about this principle, they will practice Jnana Yogam by controlling their senses fully and fully meditating upon Bhagavan. This is explained in the 23rd Shlokam. 24th Shlokam talks about Bhakti Yogam. Bhakti Yogam is the state of being with affection towards Paramatma, Sriman Narayana, and being fully situated in meditating upon him, worshipping him, offering obeisances to him. In each of these three yogas, Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, Bhakti Yogam, the other yogams are inherently mixed. For example, when we take Karma Yoga, it is mixed with Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. When we take Jnana Yoga, it is naturally mixed with Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And when we look at Bhakti Yoga, it is naturally mixed with Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. These three cannot exist independently. They will always be together. In the next Shlokam, 25th Shlokam, it is explained that these three yogams, which are in the form of worshipping Paramapurusha, Sriman Narayana, in performing the Nitya Karma and Naimitika Karma as the means for Atma Sakshatkaram, eventually leading up to state of Samadhi, which is totally at peace with oneself and everything else. So one will, even when one pursues the higher state of knowledge about Bhagavan, one cannot give up the Nitya karma and Naimatik karma, daily activities as well as occasional activities. This is explained in this 25th shlokam. In the 26th shlokam, it is explained that having eradicated all the ignorance and having seen one's own inherent nature of being subservient to Paramapurusha, one attains pure devotion, and through that devotion, one reaches the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan. So this is the result of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. When one overcomes all the ignorance, the hurdles, and one understands the true nature of being a servitor of the Lord, one will naturally reach the divine feet of the Lord. In the next shloka, 27th shloka, it is explained that all these three yogams, whether it is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, they can bestow whether one desires for wealth, one desires for kaivalyam, one desires for eternal kainkyaryam. All these three yogams will lead to all those three results, depending on one's desire. This is explained in the 27th shlokam. And in the 28th shlokam, important principle is explained. Here it says that whether one is desiring worldly wealth or desiring kaivalyam, which is self-enjoyment, or one is desiring eternal kainkyaryam to Bhagavan, when one is in the path of Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, they will have to exclusively worship only Bhagavan. They should not worship any other devata. This is a precondition for any goal and pursuing any means. So this concept is very much explained here, emphasized here. And also, if one starts Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga with the desire of attaining worldly wealth, but in the process he changes his mind, he becomes evolved, and then he desires to reach Bhagavan, then he will get the divine feet of Bhagavan. Even if he changes his mind, if his material attachment vanishes and if he develops attachment towards the divine feet of the Lord, then he will naturally get that. So even it is understood that when one performs Bhakti Yoga, until the end of that Bhakti Yoga, if he completes it properly, then he will naturally get to reach Bhagavan's divine feet. But even for those who fail, for those who inherently develop devotion towards Bhagavan after starting to perform this yoga with the material desires, when the transformation happens, they will naturally get the divine feet of Lord and they will reach there. This is what is explained in this shlokam, and this concludes the explanation of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. The last section is 3 shlokams, 29, 30 and 31, which explains the greatness of Jnani. Jnani is a devotee who is purely devoted to Bhagavan, and his whole life is sustaining on serving Bhagavan, thinking about Bhagavan and acting for the sake of Bhagavan. 29th shlokam explains, Jnani is the one who is fully devoted to Bhagavan. He is having everything in his life fully dependent on Bhagavan. He feels joyful when he unites with Bhagavan, and he feels anguish when he is separated from Bhagavan. And his knowledge is fully situated in Bhagavan only. This is the quality of Jnani, this is the nature of Jnani, which is explained in this 29th Shlokam. In the 30th Shlokam, it is highlighted that one who sustains himself through meditating about Bhagavan, seeing him, speaking about him, worshipping him, praising him, singing about him, is the one whose life, mind, intellect, senses are all engaged in Bhagavan only. If one is fully focused on Bhagavan, then he is free from every other desire and he is fully focused on Bhagavan only. And such Jnani is also called as Paramaikanti. Paramaikanti means totally devoted to Bhagavan only and is not concerned about anything else. Such Jnani, who is Paramaikanti, being stimulated with devotion, he has great devotion towards Bhagavan, who is the master of all. Bhagavan is the master of all. He will perform all means starting with Karma Yogam up to Bhakti Yogam. Such Paramaikanti even may be engaged in whatever a Karma Yogi may be doing, whatever a Jnana Yogi may be doing, whatever a Bhakti Yogi may be doing. But he is doing it not as means. He is not pursuing Karma Yogam as means, but instead he is doing it as Kainkaryam for Bhagavan. For the pleasure of Bhagavan only he is doing it. Similarly, according to his Varna and Ashrama, he will not give up any activities. He will continue to do whatever is fitting for his Varna and Ashrama. But he will not consider any of the activity as means to attain Bhagavan. He will just consider them as Kainkaryam, for the pleasure of Bhagavan. The Upayatvam, that is, being the means, is only with Bhagavan. Only Bhagavan is the means to attain him. And having such attitude, this Paramaikanti will have no fear about anything else. So this concludes the section which explains who a Jnani is, how he is a Paramaikanti, how he is fully situated in worshipping, praising, singing about Bhagavan only. Finally, in the concluding Shlokam, the goal being reached is explained. Paramaikanti, who only desires for activities in servitude, who is always exclusively focused on Bhagavan's pleasure, will certainly reach Bhagavan's lotus feet. The main objective of Gita Shastram is to transform the Jivatma from being bound in this samsaram to a Paramaikanti who is totally free from all these bondages and fully dedicate oneself to Bhagavan. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, to transform an individual from the state of being bound to being liberated and being eternally established in servitude to Bhagavan. And this explains, this concludes gIthArtha Sangraham, which briefly describes the meanings of Bhagavad Gita. This is a divine Grantham done by ALavandhAr, a wonderful, simple explanation of the principles of Bhagavad Gita, and we've had the fortune to enjoy it today. Alvar Embermanar Jiyar Thirudigale Sharanam.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download KOYIL, KOYIL app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, KOYIL.org.